Well, he created what coworkers call a toxic environment inside Shaker Heights High School.
This evening, we're learning more about the principal of the school and what led to his resignation. Chris Ty now live in Shaker with news of allegations of offensive racial and sexual comments. Chris, good evening.
Russ and Sarah, good evening to you. Let's walk you through this month by month. The formal complaints started coming in October. He was placed on administrative leave in November. In January, he resigned his position, and tonight, we're learning why. He's an educator hitting the right notes when singing the national anthem at Tribe games, but colleagues say former principal Jonathan Keenley repeatedly hit the wrong notes, going way over the line of decency during his 3 years as principal at Shaker Heights High. This formal complaint, obtained by Channel 3 News, was written in part by the assistant principal last fall. "I write in unprecedented concern for the well-being of our school," she wrote, "and the students and adults who call it home. On one occasion, quote, I smelled alcohol on his breath, as well as noticed he was chomping on gum and was not willing to talk with me for very long." She says during a Q&A with parents, he was quoted as saying, "Black boys are an intractable problem." Addressing the staff about the lack of diversity at the high school, he told two colleagues, "Thanks for being black." Keenley was first put on leave, then resigned his position in January. That takes effect formally in June. Until then, he's working remotely on data entry work. Two other colleagues shared comments from Keenley with district leaders. "You would be super distracting in those heels," they report him saying. The coworker said, "I felt super embarrassed." Another said he quoted a sexually suggestive song, asking, "Did their milkshake bring the boys to the yard?" That assistant principal providing this big picture view. "I believe that his actions have irreparably damaged the relationship with stakeholders," she wrote, including other administrators and counselors, the teachers, parents, and most importantly, students. We reached out to that principal today. He had no comment. Notably, the district and the parent-teacher organization also with no comment. We tried to talk to a dozen or so parents outside of school today. No one wanted to touch it. And Russ, when we asked students what they are aware of this story, they said no one has clued them in at all. They are watching it through their phones and over the air. Back to you.
More to come. Chris Ty in Shaker Heights. Thank you.